Tony Abbott's position, well, I wouldn't really like to be Tony Abbott at the moment. He's got most of his backbench wants to get rid of him. A strong alternative leader has now emerged. I mean, this is the interesting thing about the last few weeks is Malcolm Turnbull has now emerged as the clear alternative. Up until then, it was kind of, is it Julie Bishop, is it Malcolm Turnbull? I kind of tended to think it was Julie Bishop rather than Malcolm Turnbull, but Turnbull has cemented his place now as the alternative to Tony Abbott. And that's kind of been one of the most signal consequences of what's been happening lately. I think Turnbull could have become Prime Minister last week if he wanted to, but it is in his interest not to end up with a divided party, and I think he would have had a bitterly divided party if he'd made his move last week. I think what he wants to do is be in a position where the party, in effect, turns to him and says, Malcolm, this guy's a lunatic, can you take over? That's the kind of difficult position that Tony Abbott's in. He's got to rest their backbench. He's got a clear alternative, and even if the right of the party don't like Malcolm Turnbull, and of course we know the Nationals don't, they hate Malcolm Turnbull with an absolute passion. If Malcolm Turnbull's not acceptable, well then there's Julie Bishop, who is a moderate actually, but comes from Western Australia, which is a highly conservative section of the Liberal Party. So yeah, you wouldn't be Tony Abbott for quids at the moment. Particularly when you look at his recovery strategy. Now, there's his recovery strategy's got kind of three elements that I want to just touch on briefly. One is stylistic. Apparently, Tony Abbott's concluded that the one thing that was missing from his prime ministership last year was aggression. So he's become really quite much more aggressive, really significantly more aggressive to anyone who gets in his way. And then there's two policy considerations. One is national security. He's really going hard on national security. Which is interesting because he went hard on national security last year and it didn't really work for him. It wasn't a big success for him last year, so he's kind of doubling down on that as well as the aggression. The other component is, we'll find out in a few weeks, is basically an effort to bribe voters with a families assistance package, which is the sort of thing Julia Gillard used to do. She came out with families assistance packages, and now Tony Abbott's going to try something similar. So we'll see whether he has more luck with it than Julia Gillard did. But really, as a coherent kind of recovery strategy, I'm not sure that it's all that compelling. But look, people have written, and I certainly have written Tony Abbott off before. In fact, I think I wrote him off the day that he was elected leader, and the right has never let me forget it. So miracles can happen, but at the moment, I think there's a great, the odds are really stacked against Tony Abbott. Interesting timing issue because. We're nearing the end of February. The budget process is really ramping up. Those of you who are public servants will be aware of this. And if Malcolm Turnbull sort of doesn't make a move soon, then in effect he's going to inherit Tony Abbott and Joe Hockey's budget. If he becomes Prime Minister, say at the end of March, then in effect his first set-piece political event is going to be the budget that is actually Tony Abbott's and Joe Hockey's, which is probably not something he'll want to do. So I suspect. If Malcolm Turnbull does want to make a move rather than wait for the party to turn to him, then it will be after the budget, and then he can kind of restart the whole process of trying to build trust with voters.